multiplying polynomials. When multiplying polynomials, we use the method called FOIL. F-O-I-L. This method starts with f for first terms that we multiply. Then we multiply our outer terms. Then our inner terms. And then our last terms. Example number 1, we're going to find each product. We're going to use FOIL for this. What product means is multiplication. So here's our first problem, problem letter A. We have x minus 5 times x plus 7. So here we're multiplying two binomials, and I know that it's two different binomials because each is separated within its own parentheses. So since I'm going to use FOIL to multiply, f stands for first, or first terms in each of the binomials, and so it would be x times x, which gives me x squared, and it's my outer terms, x times 7, which is positive 7x. I is for inner terms, negative 5 times x, which is negative 5x. Then negative 5 times 7, which is our outer terms. This is negative 35. And now see what I can combine. And I have 7x minus 5x that I can combine. So I now rewrite this, x squared, 7x minus 5x is positive 2x minus 35. There's another way of doing this though. I can use a box. So I make a square. And I make 4 boxes out of the square. And what I do is I place my binomials on the outside. So I write x minus 5 and x plus 7. And what I do is within each box, I'm going to multiply the numbers that correspond to it. So within this box, I multiply x times x, which will give me x squared. The second box, I have x times negative 5x times negative 5, which will give me negative 5x. Down on the bottom, x times 7, which gives me 7x. And last but not least, 7 times negative 5, which is negative 35. Within my box, I am able to recognize what I can combine. I can combine negative 5x and 7x. So what I do now, I rewrite my first term, which was x squared. Then I work with 7x minus 5x, which gives me 2x. And in this last box, I have that negative 35. Two different methods of doing it, same exact result. Letter B, we're still finding the product. So in letter B, we have the two binomials, 2y plus 3 and 6y minus 7. I can use either or method. I can either multiply using FOIL, I can do the box method. This time I'm going to go ahead and just use the FOIL method. So 2y times 6y, which will give me 12y squared. And here's my outer terms. 2y times negative 7, which is negative 14y. Then my inner terms, 3 times 6y, that gives me 18y. And my last terms, which is 3 times negative 7, and this is negative 21. I can combine negative 14, and 18y. So when I rewrite my answer, I know 12y squared can't be combined with anything else. And negative 14y plus 18y will give me a positive 4y. And since we can't combine negative 21, we just rewrite this. Letter C. Have 4x minus 9 times 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. This time I'm multiplying a binomial with a trinomial. Since we're working with a lot more terms, I'm going to create the box method now, or I'm going to use the box method to multiply this. So I'm creating a big box. And then this box, I'm going to split it into 6 smaller boxes. On the left, since I have 2 rows here, I'm going to place 4x and negative 9. On the top, I have 3 columns, so I'm going to place my trinomial there, which is 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. Within each box, I'm going to put the product of the terms that are on its outside. So have 2x squared times 4x. 2 times 4 will give me 8. X times x squared will give me x cubed. Now in the next box, I have negative 5x that corresponds, and when I look at the beginning of that row, I have 4x. Positive times the negative will give me a negative. 4 times 5 will give me 20, and x times x is x squared. And this last box on the top, I have 4x times 3. This is 12x. Bottom row, 2x squared times negative 9. A positive and a negative will give me a negative. 2 times 9. 2x squared times 9 is 18x squared. Then we have negative 5x times 9. Negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 9 is 45x. And then last box we have 3 times 9, which is negative 27. I can combine negative 20x squared with negative 18x squared. I can also combine 12x and 45x. I start with the 8x cubed. Since there's nothing to combine it with, I rewrite it, 8x cubed. And I work with negative 20x squared and negative 18x squared. Since the two signs are the same and I'm combining them, I keep the sign and add my numbers. 20x squared plus 18x squared will give me 38x squared. Then I have 12x and 45x. This will give me a positive 57x. And last but not least, we have that negative 27 in the last box, and we just rewrite. Letter D. N squared minus 3n plus 2 times n squared plus 5n minus 4. This time I have 2 trinomials, which means I'm going to make a box that is 3 by 3. When I say 3 by 3, I mean 3 columns by 3 rows. So that means my box will have a total of 9 smaller boxes within it. So I write n squared minus 3n plus 2 on one side of my box. On the other side, I write n squared plus 5n minus 4. Now I can multiply. N squared times n squared will give me n to the 4th. Now within this box, I multiply negative 3n times n squared. This is going to give me negative 3n to the 3rd. Now 2 times n squared. 2 times n squared is 2n squared. The second row, 5n times n squared. This is 5n cubed. Negative 3n times 5n. A negative and a positive give me a negative. 3n times 5n is 15n squared. 2 times 5n is 10n. Third row, negative 4 times n squared is negative 4n squared. Now negative 4 times negative 3n, negative and a negative will give me a positive, so 4 times 3n is 12n. And 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So things that I can combine here. I can combine negative 3n cubed with 5n cubed. I can also combine 2n squared with negative 15n squared with negative 4n squared. And there's one more thing I can combine. I can combine 10n and 12n. So now to solve this, start by writing n to the fourth. I combine 5n cubed minus 3n cubed. This will give me a positive 2n cubed. Then I have negative 4n squared minus 15n squared plus 2n squared. Negative 4n squared minus 15n squared is negative 19n squared plus 2 is negative 17n squared. Now 12n and 10n, when I combine this, it's 22n. And then last but not least, we have that negative 8. That's our answer. So n to the fourth plus 2n cubed minus 17n squared plus 22n minus 8.